We continue reading from Sri Isopanishad. We are on mantra 8. Saparya chukram akayam avranam asnaviram shuddham apapa viddham kavir manisi paribuhu swayambhur yatha tathayato arthan vyadadak chasvatibhya samabhyaha. Such a person must factually know the greatest of all, the personality of Godhead, who is unembodied, omniscient, beyond reproach, without veins, pure and uncontaminated. The self-sufficient philosopher who has been fulfilling everyone's desire since time immemorial. So this is mantra 8. Which is saying, here is a description of the transcendental and eternal form of the absolute personality of Godhead. So Isopanishad is giving us information of the form of God, absolute personality of Godhead. So there are many gods, like we just heard, demigods are there, they're in charge of these universal affairs. And of these demigods, Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma are the most powerful demigods. But who's the absolute God, absolute personality of God? That's Krishna. No one is more powerful than Krishna. Everyone is getting their powers from Krishna. The Supreme Lord is not formless. He has his own transcendental form, which is not at all similar to the forms of the mundane world. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not formless. He has his own transcendental form, which is not at all similar to the forms of the mundane world. We are in this material world. Our forms right now are all material. But Krishna's form is spiritual. It's transcendental. The forms of the living entities in this world are embodied in material nature, and they work like any material machine. So because right now we are in this material world, we have taken on this material body, which is a machine. It's actually a material machine. How you calling my body a machine? Because automatic everything's happening. Food is being digested, the cells are growing, rejuvenating. All that is happening. Blood is flowing. We are not pressing anything. But the moment we leave this body, the moment I come out of this body, this machine will stop working. No more, the heart will not beat anymore. So it's a machine. The anatomy of a material body must have a mechanical construction with veins and so forth. But the transcendental body of the Supreme Lord has nothing like veins. So this body, we have these veins, blood vessels, all the bone marrow, all that. But Krishna's body does not have these things. His body is transcendental. His body is transcendental. It is clearly stated here that he is unembodied, which means that there is no difference between his body and his soul. Unembodied means no material body. So Krishna's form is transcendental. That form, there is no difference between his body and soul. Right now, for us, there is a difference between our body and soul. We are the soul, but we are inside this material body. So that's why we are called embodied. We are inside this material body, but not for Krishna. He does not have a material body. Nor is he forced to accept a body according to the laws of nature as we are. Krishna is never forced that, oh, you have to be born here in this species at this time. No, he chooses. He chooses whenever he wants to come. He chooses who his parents are going to be, who his friends are going to be. He chooses where he's going to come, what he's going to do. It's difficult for us to understand why, because we are not given that choice. We are just thrown into this body. We find ourselves in this body. Nobody asked us. Nobody give us a questionnaire. Oh, where would you like to be born? Which body you want? Which community? Which country? Which planet? Which universe? Who you want your parents to be? What kind of activity you want to be doing? We don't get that choice. We are just forced to enter any body. And we are also forced similarly to leave that body. Nobody's going to ask us, oh, are you ready to leave this body now? Now it's time for you to leave and you have to go to another one. No. Time is finished, up. We can't say, oh, can I live in this body for some more time? Just give me 5 minutes more. No, we're just forced. We think we are the owners of this body, but we are not the owner of this body. Nobody asks us before putting us in it. Nobody asks us before taking us out of it. But not for Krishna. Not for Krishna. In materially conditioned life, the soul is different from the gross embodiment and subtle mind. So right now, because we are in this material world, materially conditioned, we are thinking we are the body, we are actually the soul. So there is a difference between we, our true person who we are the soul. Person, we are the soul, and we are inside this body, and we have a mind, a subtle mind. For the Supreme Lord, however, there is never any such difference between him and his body and mind. He's the complete whole, and his mind, body, and he himself are all one and the same. So Krishna's form is transcendental. There's no difference between his form and his soul. Right now, we have a difference between our form and soul because we are inside this material body. In the Brahma Samhita 5.1, there is a similar description of the Supreme Lord. He's described there as Satchid Ananda Vigraha, which means that he is the eternal form fully representing transcendental existence, knowledge, and bliss. So Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. Sat means eternal, Chit means full of knowledge, and Ananda means full of bliss. Vigraha means form. So Krishna has a form of transcendental existence, knowledge, and bliss. And this is given by Lord Brahma in his Brahma Samhita. Brahmaji is one of the authorities of spiritual knowledge. So if we want to get proper knowledge, we need to hear it in the parampara system from the authority. As such, he does not require a separate body or mind as we do in material existence. So Krishna does not need a material body. He does not need a material mind. No, his form is transcendental. We need right now because we are conditioned. Once we go back to the spiritual world, we also have Satchidananda. We also have a spiritual form. There is no difference between our mind and form and body over there in the spiritual world. It's only right now because we are in the material world. But we always have to understand that the difference between Krishna and us is that even when we are in our spiritual form as the soul, our size is still very small. We are still not the Supreme Lord. We can never become Supreme Lord. Only Krishna is the Supreme Lord. And we have a loving relationship with him. That we have to, and that is a fact, that even after we leave this material body, even after we get liberation, going into the Vaikuntha planets, over there also still Krishna is the Lord, and we are still insignificant in the sense that he's the Lord, and our powers, our potency is not unlimited like Krishna has. Krishna's potency is unlimited. Vedic literature clearly states that the Lord's transcendental body is completely different from ours. Thus, he is sometimes described as formless. So it doesn't mean that if somebody does not have a material form, it's formless. No, it's a spiritual form. Because our understanding of everything is in our experience is material, so we say, our experience is everything material. So we are not able to understand how can something be spiritual? How can a form be spiritual? My experience is all form is material, made of earth, water, air, fire. How come suddenly there is spiritual? Why not? Why they cannot be spiritual? God is spiritual. His form is transcendental. Why he cannot have it? He's God. Why should he be like how we want him to be? We have to accept the fact, not continue believing in what we continue to believe, because what we believe might not be the truth. So then this means that he has no form like ours, and that he's devoid of a form we can conceive of. But we get clear description of Krishna's form in Srimad Bhagavatam. Very clear description is given how lotus hands, 2 hands and lotus eyes, beautiful smile, lips, his broad chest, his lotus feet. So that the more we want to understand the absolute truth, the information is there. It just depends on our desire. In the Brahma Samhita 5.32, it is further stated that with each and every part of his body, he can do the work of the other senses. This means that the Lord can walk with his hands, accept things with his legs, see with his hands and feet, eat with his eyes, etc. Brahma Samhita is the Anangani Yasya Sakla, that Krishna can eat with his eyes. We are giving the food to the deity. We are keeping the food in front of the deity. He's eating. Just by looking at it, he's eating. Can we do that? Imagine if we put food in our eyes. We'll get eye infection. Or if we try to put the food inside our hand. How can we do? We have to put the food inside our mouth. We can't do such things. But Krishna can. Because he's God. So he can. We are in this material body. We can't. So then Krishna can walk with his hands. He can accept things with his legs. In the Shruti mantras, it is also said that although the Lord has no hands and legs like ours, he has a different type of hands and legs by which he can accept all that we offer him and run faster than anyone. These points are confirmed in this 8th mantra through the use of the words like Shukram, omnipotent. So Krishna is omnipotent. His form is transcendental. His hands and legs are all transcendental, all spiritual, not material. The Lord's worshipable form, Archa Vigraha, which is installed in temples by authorized acharyas who have realized the Lord in terms of mantra 7, is non-different from the original form of the Lord. So now the pure devotees, the authorized acharyas, they understand that the deity in the Lord, the deity form, that's the Lord himself. They don't see the difference. They see that that's Krishna himself, the Archa Vigraha. In the authorized temples, the authorized deities and the authorized acharyas, they can see that this is Krishna. We can't see it because we do not have that purity as yet. We make the distinction, okay, this is the deity. Oh yes, I need to worship it. I need to worship. But the pure devotee, he sees Krishna there. The Lord's original form is that of Sri Krishna, and Sri Krishna expands himself into an unlimited number of forms, such as Baladev, Rama, Nishimha, and Varaha. All of these forms are one and the same personality of Godhead. Similarly, the Archa Vigraha, worshipped in temples, is also an expanded form of the Lord. So Krishna, he's the original God, original personality of Godhead. From him comes Lord Balaram. Then comes all the other expansions, the Narayana expansions, the Purusha avatars. Then also expansions like Lord Ramachandra, Nishingadev, Varahadev, Matsya, Kurma, so many. But original form is Sri Krishna. They are all forms of Krishna. They are all personality of Godhead, but the original is Krishna. Original is Krishna. So Krishna also expands as the Archa Vigraha. As he is expanded in so many other incarnations, he also takes the incarnation of the deity in the temple. By worshipping the Archa Vigraha, one can at once approach the Lord, who accepts the service of a devotee by his omnipotent energy. So why does Krishna accept this form of Archa Vigraha? So that we can offer some service to him, so that we can have some devotion for him. So we can express our devotion, express our love. That's the reason. The Acha Vigraha of the Lord descends at the request of the Acharyas, the holy teachers, and works exactly in the original way of the Lord by virtue of the Lord's omnipotence. Krishna is omnipotent. So the Acha Vigraha is Krishna himself. Foolish people who have no knowledge of Sri Isopanishad or any of the other Shruti mantras consider the Archa Vigraha, which is worshipped by pure devotees, to be made of material elements. This form may be seen as material by the imperfect eyes of foolish people or Kanishta Adhikaris, but such people do not know that the Lord, being omnipotent and omniscient, can transform matter into spirit and spirit into matter as he desires. So the pure devotees, they invite the Lord inside the deity. Pran, it's called the Pran Stapana, right? Pran Pratishtha. They invite the Lord, kindly please come so that we can offer you some service. And so the deities in the temples, they are authorized, depend, if they are established by the pure devotees. The deities which are established by the pure devotees, then they are not material. They are not material. In the Bhagavad Gita 9:11-12, the Lord regrets the fallen condition of men with little knowledge who deride him because he descends like a man into this world. Such poorly informed persons do not know the omnipotence of the Lord. Thus, the Lord does not manifest himself in full to the mental speculators. He can be appreciated only in proportion to one's surrender to him. The fallen condition of the living entities is due entirely to forgetfulness of their relationship with God. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that men with little knowledge, they cannot understand when he comes in this human form. They can't understand when he comes in the human form, as he did 5,000 years ago, they think he's like him. Oh, I know Krishna. Yeah, he was just some king, someone like me, some mystic power. Yeah, so big deal. But that's not the true position of Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. His body is transcendental, not material. They do not understand the omnipotence of the Lord. And then to such persons, Krishna does not reveal himself. He does not reveal himself. He reveals himself only to the people who want to understand him. Same like we are. We do not reveal our feelings to people who don't want to know us. You are not interested to know me. Why should I tell you about myself? Krishna is a person. He does the same. If somebody has a sincere desire to know him, to understand him, then Krishna reveals himself. But if somebody does not have the sincere desire, he's like, it's fine. I don't need to reveal myself to you. For what? So then what is our fallen condition? Each of us have an eternal loving relationship with Krishna. Each of us. But we have forgotten this relationship. And we are thinking we are the body. So we just have to revive the relationship, the fallen condition of the living entity. We are pure spirit souls. Only because we have forgotten our relationship with Krishna. That's why we are in this material body. We have to revive this relationship. Then we can be also situated on the same platform as eternal loving servants of Krishna. Eternal loving servants of Krishna. So in this mantra, as well as in many other Vedic mantras, it is clearly stated that the Lord has been supplying goods to the living entities from time immemorial. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. There is many eternals, and among so many eternals, there is one eternal who's maintaining all the other eternals. It's in the Katha Upanishad. What does Katha Upanishad says? That there's so many eternals. Each and every living entity, we are eternal souls. Each of us. Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is also eternal. But all the living entities are being maintained by the Lord. Each and every living entity is maintained by the Lord. He's maintaining us here in this material world. And he continues to maintain us in the spiritual world. No matter where we go, we are being maintained by the Supreme Lord. Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam, Eko Bahunam, Yovidadati Kaman. It's not that he's just maintaining us here. Even when we go back home, back to God and in the spiritual world, he's the one who's maintaining us. We do not have the capacity to maintain ourselves. We think we are doing it, but the maintenance is coming from Krishna. A living being desires something, and the Lord supplies the object of that desire in proportion to one's qualification. So Krishna fulfills our desire in proportion to our qualification. So based on our desire and karma, we get. The qualification means what we have done. For example, now somebody likes to eat meat. They are in this human body. So the next life, then get the body of a lion. Why? Because the body of the lion is appropriate to eat meat. So the desire is fulfilled and the qualification is like that, become that of a lion. No need to be a human being. For a human being, it is so that we can use our intelligence to get out of this material world. That's the reason this human body is given. If a man wants to be a high court judge, he must acquire not only the necessary qualifications, but also the consent of the authority who can award the title of high court judge. So there are so many people who pass the exam. They have the qualification to be the high court judge, but not all of them become the high court judge. So one person is chosen by the authority to occupy that position. The qualification in themselves are insufficient for one to occupy the post. It must be awarded by some superior authority. Similarly, the Lord awards enjoyment to living entities in proportion to their qualifications. But good qualifications in themselves are not sufficient to enable one to receive awards. The mercy of the Lord is also required. So, for example, even the position of the demigods, it's not easy to become the demigods. They are highly qualified, Indra, Chandra, Brahma, Ganeshji. There's so many demigods, 33 crores demigods. It's not easy to acquire that post. So even though they are qualified, there will be many living entities who are qualified, but from them, one is chosen by Krishna. Maybe there are so many qualified to occupy the post of Indra. Then from them, one is chosen by Krishna. Okay, you become the Indra. From so many qualified, okay, you become Surya, like that. So needs qualification and mercy of the Lord. He's the one who is fulfilling all our desires. All our desires are being fulfilled by Krishna. So shall we stop here for today? For Sri Isopanishad. The post, let's just finish this paragraph because it's related to what we are reading. Ordinarily, the living being does not know what to ask from the Lord, nor which post to seek. When the living being comes to know his constitutional position, however, he asks to be accepted into the transcendental association of the Lord in order to render transcendental loving service unto him. So we really don't understand what to ask. What shall we are asking always the Lord for our material body. Give me wealth, give me health, give me long life, make me a demigod, bring me to heaven, let me enjoy life, let everything go well with me, with my family, with my country, my community. But everything is with the body. But once we understand what is my constitutional position, constitutional position means one who we truly are, can't change that. That is our position. When we realize, who am I? Okay, I'm the soul, that's fine. But what's my position as the soul? Then once we understand that our eternal relationship with Krishna, then he asks to be accepted into the transcendental association of the Lord in order to render transcendental loving service unto him. This is what it is. No, we are, okay, I'm the soul, but then what? Then we'll be just flying around in space. What's going to happen? We're not yet gone to any spiritual planet. They're just sitting in the Brahma Jyoti means just still flying around in the space, you know. What's the true constitutional position? We each have a spiritual form. We have a relationship with Krishna. So that is what we need to ask him. Ask to be accepted into the transcendental association of the Lord in order to render transcendental loving service unto him. The service is based on love, not based on some manipulation of fear or anger or greed. It's love, loving exchange. Unfortunately, living beings under the influence of material nature, as for many other things, they're described in Bhagavad Gita 2.41 as having divided or splayed intelligence. So we are always asking for different material things. We're asking him everything related to the body. But yet, even if we have material desires, because we do have a lot of material desires, because we are in the body, Bhagavatam says, still ask from Krishna. Don't ask from the other demigods. Krishna says, okay, whatever you want, you ask from me. Material desires, impersonal desire, whatever desire you have, ask from Krishna, because in that way, at least we will get purified. If we ask from the demigods, okay, the desires may be fulfilled, may not be fulfilled, but we'll still remain in this material world. But if we ask from Krishna, Krishna will fulfill the desires in such a way that will bring us closer to him and remove us from this material world. Spiritual intelligence is one, but mundane intelligence is diverse. Mundane intelligence is diverse because we have so many material desires, so many in one moment. How many desires come in our heart, you know, in our mind? So many various things. But what's the spiritual intelligence? To engage in loving, transcendental loving service to the Lord. So in Srimad Bhagavatam 7:5:30-31, it is stated that those who are captivated by the temporary beauties of the external energy forget the real aim of life, which is to go back to Godhead. So right now we are seeing all this bling bling of the material world, the opulence, the desire to enjoy. There's so much riches, so much opulence is there, so much ways I can enjoy. I can eat different things. I can go to different places. I can watch different movies. I can listen to different songs. I can have different jewelry. I have different, I don't know, the different things that we enjoy, we get attached to. Temporary beauty of the external energy. And we forget, oh, why do I have this human body? The real aim of life is to go back to Godhead. So all our time and energy, we use to fulfill our material desires, and we don't give enough time and energy to cultivate this Krishna consciousness to help us get out of this material world and go back to Godhead. Forgetting this, one tries to adjust things by various plans and programs, but this is like chewing what has already been chewed. We think, oh, I'm not happy now, but let me change this and I'll be happier. No, I did this mistake earlier. Now I'm going to rectify it and I'm going to do it perfectly. And then I'll be the happiest person on this planet. We try to adjust. The mind is like that, keeps making us, oh, right now it's not perfect. I'm going to do this and then it will be perfect. Right now it's not perfect. That is chewing the chewed. Prahlad Maharaj says that in Srimad Bhagavatam, chewing the chewed. This Bhagavatam's Canto 7, chapter 5, 30-31. Nonetheless, the Lord is so kind that he allows the forgetful living entity to continue in this way without interference. Thus, this mantra of Sri Isopanishad uses the very appropriate word yatha tatha yataha, indicating that the Lord rewards the living entities just in pursuance of their desires. If a living being wants to go to hell, the Lord allows him to do so without interference. And if he wants to go back home, back to Godhead, the Lord helps him. So this choice is given to us by Krishna, the independent choice. We can choose whatever desires we have, Krishna fulfills. We want to go to hell, Krishna will put us in hell. We want to go to the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, Krishna will put us in the impersonal Brahma Jyoti. We want to go back home, back to Godhead. Krishna will help us to go back to Godhead. Just depends on our desire. What do we want? Is that okay? Are there any questions or comments? If no, then we'll stop here for today. Shri Isopanishad ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.